all fun and games till someone gets shot.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk a little bit about patch 5.01 and also Tekken 8. I normally don't talk about balancing anymore because I realize when I talk about balancing it kind of turns into a rant of sorts, and really when you talk about balancing it's really negative. It's a lot of complaints about this character, that character, this decision, that decision, and over the course of this whole year, really the channel has become more and more lore and story focused. So one, I want to say I thank you guys for sticking with me through this shift from balancing to story, but also the reason why I made this shift is because, like I said, one, it's really negative, and then two, I think it's kind of irrelevant. I'm kind of over Tekken 7. I really don't think we're gonna see any major changes to the game, and nor do I think they should. I really don't think they should try and change Tekken 7 in any major way. All their major changes and big ideas, bright ideas, should be saved for Tekken 8 to make that game as unique and as different from Tekken 7 as possible, right? If they flip the tier list now in Tekken 7, then what do they do in Tekken 8? Do they maintain that tier list or do they flip it again? Right? So that's the kind of ideas that I think about, and that's kind of why I don't really get angry about updates like 5.0 or 5.1, because I think they're saving everything for Tekken 8, right? But the reason why I want to make this video is because also what I think they're doing for Tekken 7 right now is using it as a beta. I see a lot of people talking about the beta for Street Fighter 6 and should Tekken 8 get a beta. But I think we are playing the Tekken 8 beta right now. That is Tekken 7. For the past 2 years, they've been trying to figure out a way to ban people, ban cheaters. And I know people's been laughing at them. You have a cheater get banned and then the cheater unban themselves by reversing it. Never seen that before, but you do have these odd situations here. But I think they're testing. I think they're practicing. So once Tekken 8 comes around, not only are they masters at dealing with these things, but they have a better understanding. And when you talk more so about the balancing of it, let's get into the tech trap, the Oki situation. This is a very big discussion that's happening all across Twitter, YouTube. At the time of recording, Mayman Sweet hasn't uploaded his video, but I'm sure once he uploads his video, we're going to see a lot of people echoing whatever he says. I don't know what he says, but whatever he says is going to be repeated throughout, just like with me and with some of these other top guys. When they say something, everyone repeats it. And my stance on the Oki wall trap situation is it's kind of what the community has been asking for. People often say Tekken characters have no defense against Akuma, Geese Howard. When they jump in the air, there's no way to stop it. I watch Eris's stream all the time, and that's all he talks about is the 2D flipping. And what did they do in this update? They made it to where Akuma can no longer jump behind you and hit you. And it's like they tried to give people what they want, a defense against the jumping. But yes, I understand Zhao Yu got hit in the crossfire, Lily, other characters who also hop over got hit in the crossfire, but they tried to give people what they wanted, what they were asking for, and it still just didn't satisfy the hunger. And this is another reason why I think the developers shouldn't listen to the community. Not all the time, but these reactionary updates really is not doing anything for the community, because the community, I realized after doing videos for 3 years, the Tekken community has a unquenching thirst for these things. Regardless of how much you change, buff, or nerf a character, it's never enough. And I think it's kind of unfair for the developers because they're trying to listen to us. They've been listening to us for like 2 years now, but they're never given the credit. I do think a lot of their decisions is bad, but that's because I think they're given bad info by the competitors, by the top players, by the community. But that's my take on it. Let's talk about Twitter. let's read some tweets. We're gonna start off with Knee because this one kinda is what inspired this video. 2 hours after the patch went live says, increasingly, we're going through patches where our knowledge of tech traps and strategy we know are becoming obsolete. What direction are they thinking about? Does they want to fight that's just poking? 3 sentences, 2 interesting questions. What direction are they heading? This is a question that I ask a whole lot because it lacks a purpose. It lacks a goal. Usually when devs balance a game, they want it to have a certain feel, a certain style. They want it to be something. But when they're listening to people say, buff Eddie, buff Armor King, nerf Fang, that's just random characters being zapped here and there. It's no purpose. And I think in Tekken 8, they really do need to have a vision. And also, one thing I've been speaking a lot about on the live streams is the Tekken community is very biased, very biased. Everyone wants their character to be buffed, and then at the same time wants all other characters to be nerfed. In that environment, you will never reach balance because the people are speaking from a imbalanced perspective. That's why I no longer talk about tier lists and which characters are more powerful than which, because it all falls apart at a certain point. When Neat asks the question, do they want a fight that's just poking? Here's something that I don't understand about the Tekken community as well. The Tekken community, when they talk about a character like Eddie being weak or Lucky Chloe being weak, Yoshimitsu, they often talk about how these characters have bad pokes and everything they do be high risk or high reward, something like that. And it's odd because that is what the community has been saying for the past 3 years. We want these characters to be buffed, and the buffs we want is poking. But once they start doing that, people are confused. They start scratching their head. And I always say that not every character is supposed to play like Steve Fox or Lita. You're not supposed to have Eddie being a poking god. Meanwhile, he can flip a switch and now he's a 50-50 monster. People will say something and then 2 days later they'll forget that they ever said it. That's not good. It's not good. Some more tweets. I'm gonna pick up the pace. Cootie, I don't know who this is. They says, if you were cool with broad sweeping changes that made Tekken 7 more core legacy mechanics, movement, wake ups, throw breaking, but suddenly ticked that your character doesn't get a goofy wall Oki, I don't know what to tell you. Tekken Gamer made a very interesting point, and this kind of ties into Tekken 8. Responding to Kuiper says they made much easier the wake up system in Tekken 7 from Tag Tournament 2. So wake ups from Tekken Tag Tournament 2 to Tekken 7 got easier. But now you can just spam quick roll without thinking. So basically in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 and basically at the start of Tekken 7, you used to have to think carefully about how you want to stand up and how you wanted to do this and that. Now you just quick roll, you just tech and you're up. And honestly, this is something I think people should be happy about. Tekken 7 has been often said that it's super aggressive. If you're pressing buttons, you're the safest. When you're not pressing buttons, you're in a whole lot of danger. And the fact that they made it to where you can just stand up very safely, that helps defense, that decreases offense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that's what people wanted. They wanted to be able to defend themselves against Akuma, against Fang, against Kunimitsu, Fakuma, all of these powerful characters that has so much pressure and so many 50-50 options upon waking. I thought people wanted to be able to defend themselves, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Tekken Gamer responds and says, the stage is being set for Tekken 8. Harada talks about working with Unreal Engine 5, discusses pressing questions about accessibility options and mechanics. This is from the interview he did with IGN. Tekken Gamer responds to theirself and says, prediction, Tekken 8 will have a low barrier of entry than any previous Tekken, and the learning curve for playing that game at a competitive level will be reduced while also rewarding those who have legacy skill. And I would agree with this prediction. Over the last 5 or 6 Tekken games, it's been getting easier to press buttons, easier to stop people from moving, throw breaks easier, everything easier. And I think Tekken 8 will continue that. And honestly, I think they should to a certain degree, because just because something is hard to do doesn't mean it's better, right? Some things you just need to improve upon, and it needs to get better as time goes on. But also, when your main focus is reducing the skill gap, that is where the bad comes into mind. That's where the problems shine, because usually when you have games reducing the skill gap, it's painful for the people who are very, very passionate about the game. People who love the game, they suffer just for the hopes of some little Tommy who got $60 and they bought the game that they also love it. And it's hard to blend the gap there. And honestly, I would say Tekken 7 did a good job of blending. You have people like me, who's been one of the best players for the past 20 years. He's been doing really, really well all throughout Tekken 7's lifespan. So you can see that even though they're trying to reduce the skill barrier, skill still shines through. And I think that's why the tier list is so debatable. I think that's why when you talk about which character is strong, it's debatable. Because yes, everything is becoming easier, but skill still prevails. So in Tekken 8, I wonder what they're gonna do. Everyone talks about the walls being a problem, a nightmare. They want bigger stages. They want more defensive options. It seems like they're trying to give us that, but people aren't really open. People want these things, but when it hurts their character and not other characters that they don't like, it becomes a problem. And this is another, I know I said this already, but this is another reason why they should save all the big changes for Tekken 8. A fresh start is what we need. And I think every update shows that. Every update, it shows that the game is dying for another. It's dying for Tekken 8. The last tweet, this is from Kokoma. And honestly, this was one of the realest tweets that I've seen over the past 2 days about this whole update situation. When I was in EU, everyone felt exciting for the new patch and asked me what to expect. I said, you guys still believe and expect from them. They said some big one gonna come, but it's gonna be small change. I want to ask people who can't get changed characters for next 3 years still excited. So I know it's a little bit lost in the translation, but basically what Kokoma is saying is, so Tekken 7, I can't even count how many times this game has been updated. But when has the community ever been satisfied? When has an update ever came out and the community was like, this is a good one. This is what we asked for. It never happened. Every update, the community finds something to be upset about. And I also think this is because of how the developers update the game as well. They say an update is going to be big. They show us a trailer at EVO. They show us new tactics. Everyone gets really, really excited because it's EVO and the game hasn't been updated in a year. So you would expect some crazy change. And what they do is very minimal, very minor. So I think they are definitely to blame for it. But also the community ignores what they do. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be talking about balance for a few videos. I really try to steer clear of this stuff because at the end of the day, I don't think it matters. In 3 weeks, you know, if they decide to do another update, then all of this stuff will be irrelevant and people will be complaining about something else. The reason why I focus on story is because story is finite. The only way story changes is if they retcon something. And the only time they do retcons is at the start of a new game, right? So that's it. I'm not talking about balancing anymore because it really is like a negative topic and everyone just yells at each other, right? We never can agree on anything or just even respect each other or the developers, you know. So that's it. That's my thoughts on what's happening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm still looking forward to Tekken 8. I still think it will be legendary regardless of what happens in Tekken 7. Like I said, Tekken 7 is basically a beta in my eyes. So I think Tekken 8 will be amazing. Whether you do or not, I don't know. But that's going to be it. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.